2.5 years ago, I turned the camera on and I started spinning, and I thought, well, maybe people might be interested to see this. And then I put a bit of quilting up and a bit of this and that, and I thought it would always kind of be more of an instructional channel, but it very quickly became not that.
Welcome to Make and Decorate, a podcast for makers who love to sew, quilt, and decorate. Hello and welcome everyone to the Make and Decorate podcast. I'm Stephanie and this is episode 53, originally published on June 11, 2020. Today's episode is the final episode of season 2, so it is the season 2 finale. Season 3 is going to resume in the fall, and while the show is on hiatus, I will still publish the monthly bonus episodes for my patron subscribers. Check out my Patreon page, Make and Decorate, at patreon.com to check it out, see if you're interested. When you join my Patreon page, you instantly get access to all of the bonus episodes, and I think there are about 8 episodes so far, so that would be nice to be able to catch up on those throughout the rest of the summer. This final episode of season 2 is also the completion of 2 full years of podcasting for me. When I first started the podcast, I just had no idea of what to expect. I just really wanted to join this community and have the connection with everyone else that does the similar things that I do, and as being a maker and a creative quilter, sewer, crafter, all of that. And, you know, at first I had like pretty much next to zero expectations of if I at least have a handful of listeners, then I'm going to keep doing this. But then it started to grow. And then I really started to, you know, kind of put some metrics out there for myself. And, It's been growing ever since, and I think I'm pretty fortunate about that because this is such a niche podcast industry topic genre, and I'm just, and you know what? It's not that great. And let me tell you, nothing compared to the big wigs, but for a small independent podcaster, I am so pleased and honored to see how many people listen to the show and how many people come back week after week. So thanks to all of you guys. You just really help make this show continue and motivate me to keep bringing you the best that I can possibly produce for this show to you. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to give a follow-up update on my outdoor deck. And last episode, I was talking about doing a bunch of planting of the container gardening, and just kind of getting the deck into shape for outdoor living. It's definitely extends our living space to kind of have like a dining and conversational area outside. So I spent the last couple of weekends just doing everything that has to be done, cleaning the furniture out there. I laundered all the cushion covers. And actually, by the way, I made all of the cushion covers and seat cushions and back pillows for my furniture. The furniture I have is really nice, and I lucked out on such a deal on this furniture because there's no way that I would probably, you know, put down the dollars that this type of furniture costs. And this must have been like 10, 12 years ago. And the showrooms at the Design Center, which in Chicago is called the Merchandise Mart. Back in the day, they used to have these like once a year type of sales. When they changed over the displays of their showrooms, they would put the furniture there on like floor sample. And there used to be an entire floor dedicated to outdoor furniture showrooms only. So I'm walking down the hall and I see one showroom has put a ton of outdoor pieces in the hallway, and they were marked way, way down. I mean, I'm talking like, garage sale type prices. It was crazy. And I just scooped it right up. So of course, I had to pay for my own like pickup and delivery to my house, but it was totally worth it. And I love this furniture. So I just got the frame. So there was a sofa frame and a glider chair and ottoman. And I just got those frames, and then I made my own seat and back cushions for them, and have been enjoying them ever since. But I will tell you, those days, those heydays of the deeply discounted floor sample sales are gone. They do not do this anymore. And I never really experienced like the real heydays, the years before I became a designer. The designer I freelance for, she has got these cool stories. And I think Baker Furniture is a pretty well-known brand. Some furniture stores and retail stores will sell that line. But Baker is expensive. It's really well made, but it's super expensive. So this designer would tell me that, one state over in Michigan, I guess there was a huge Baker warehouse, and they would I think it was like once a year for them too, they would have a warehouse sale. And people would travel to the sale, and this designer included. So she and her friends would drive from, the suburb of Chicago all the way over to the Michigan, get a hotel. You would have to get in line, get a number. And once it started, she said it was mayhem. And people would kind of not be really nice and fight over some of this furniture because it's like, getting dibs on stuff. And then once you buy all this stuff, you have the challenge of how do you get it back home? And so, I'm sure some people rented some U-Hauls and stuff like that, but I just heard some really funny stories. I'm taking too much time with this, I know, but I just tell you one thing. So she would, this designer was telling me that they had this one console table and they tried to fit it in the car and they couldn't. And, it's just like three women trying to like wrangle this console table then on top of the car. And it was just like kind of starting to slide off as they were driving. And it was just like a comedy of errors. And I think like a stranger actually ended up helping them with this. But it's just hilarious because you just know that, like these are treasures and you're going to do whatever you can to secure it and bring it home. And the whole process just ends up being a memorable, funny experience. Those were days before online shopping and having things delivered to your doorstep. I know I sound so old. I remember as a kid thinking all these adults always saying, oh, back in my day, oh, this is how it was done. Those were the days. And now I find myself saying stuff like that all the time. And then I'm like, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, you have turned into an old, old, old person, which I think I kind of am. So there you go. All right, let's talk about sewing and quilting. I get the catalog by Connecting Threads, and I haven't really paid close attention to them lately, but and this goes to prove how covers of catalogs and magazines make all the difference on whether you open it or not. So I think the cover of this one really intrigued me, and I opened it. I'm trying to look for it here, but oh yeah, here it is. So Yeah, because they have a beautiful blue quilt on the front. It said So Cerulean Batiks. So that looked really pretty, and I opened it and found out that they now carry Japanese specialty tools. So a few episodes I was talking about the tulip needles. And they sell these now. So this is another online source that you can go to find the tulip needles. And an update on that, I've been using these tulip needles since I've gotten them, and they are everything that they claim to be. And so I've been doing English paper piecing, stitching with them. I have used the General Sewing tulip needles for some hand stitching, and they are just very good quality. I definitely notice a difference from those just to everyday run of the mill, like inexpensive needles. These have the strength as well as flexibility, and the sharpness is like none other. So I really like that line of needles. And the other one they carry is called Kohana, and it's just really just beautiful tools. So if you kind of like that sort of thing, you might want to take a look at this Connecting Threads most recent catalog. All right. So remember when I had Brett Lewis on as a guest in the show? I think it published around March timeframe. And at that time, his fabric line Stag and Thistle was supposed to come out in in April. And then with the whole pandemic thing, it just got pushed back and back. So I finally got some Stag and Thistle fabric. Yay. And when I got the fabric, of course, it's like I'm opening it all up and I'm petting it and I'm just looking at the beautiful patterns that have been drawn, sketched, the design of the fabrics. And I am thinking, like, immediately, I'm just like, okay, what am I going to make from this? What can I make? And all of a sudden, it just dawned on me, the perfect project to use this fabric on. I have had the pattern by So Demented for years now, and I need to make this. It's the Sew Together bag. And if you're a quilter, you definitely know this bag pattern because a few years back, this was all the rage. Everyone was making this bag, and it's a bag like a zipper pouch, but it has several sections. So the outer zipper unzips, and then inside you have about 3 more zipped pouches inside of this bag. So it's been designed for sewing notions. And I just thought, wow, this is a perfect project to make with these fabrics, because I got the fat quarter set, and then I did get half a yard of a couple of other of the patterns. So, and that bag is very fat quarter friendly. So when I can get some time to sew for myself, that is what I'm going to make out of the Stag and Thistle fabric. All right. And I have one more sewing notion tool review for you. And that is, I have the Tula Pink Stiletto tool. I've been wanting this for a while, and so I finally got it, and I love this tool. It is, I have tried many stilettos. It's kind of that thing where you just, if you haven't found that perfect kind of fit and function, form and function tool, for me, I just kind of keep my eye out on what else is out there, and then I'll try something else, especially if it goes on sale. Well, so this one I tried, and I've got it, and I mean, this is one of the best stiletto tools I have ever tried, and I love it. and of course it's beautiful. So this tool just is the best of all worlds. You get the beauty, the form, and the function. So that's ideal. The beauty of it is just that gorgeous kind of a rainbow, or what they call oil slick finish. So it's got like the pink and the purpley, colors on the metal. The other one is that the grip is really good because it's got that, there's a certain name for that grip. It's textured right in the steel. So there's no additional bulky layers of rubber to produce the grip so your fingers don't slip. So I love that because it's built right into the steel. And it's the size of it and the weight is perfect. It's not too big, and the point of the stiletto is extreme. I mean, like, this is a stiletto, and you can guide your fabric all the way up and beyond the sewing machine needle if you really wanted to. So that is really fantastic about this. It's just so comfortable in my hand. And like I said, the weight of it is really great too. So it's funny because, even though I have some of these other stiletto tools, what I had generally been using, because it's right there with me at the machine, is my Clover seam ripper. And that actually is a pretty good alternative to use as a stiletto, because of the point and its small size, fitting in your hand. So, if you don't want to kind of like spend for the Tula Pink Stiletto, you can use your seam ripper just as easily. But anyway, it's not often that you fall in love with a sewing tool or notion as much as I have on this one. And it's very exciting. It's like so fun and exciting when you find something that makes you so happy and it accomplishes what you need it to do. And it's so pretty to look at. So I really, really love this tool. And so, yeah, that's my review on the Tula Pink Stiletto tool. All right. So here we are, the last guest of season 2. And I have to tell you, I am so excited about this guest. Like, you have no idea how excited I am. I absolutely love Kate. My guest is Kate, and she has a YouTube channel called The Last Homely House. And she is easily my favorite YouTube channel of all time. And I am so excited to bring you this conversation. We had such a beautiful and long conversation. And honestly, when we got to the end of it, I had no idea that we had talked for as long as we did, because the conversation was just so easy. And I have to tell you, that is one of the things about Kate's YouTube channel that is so wonderful, because that's what it feels like when you watch her videos. You feel like she is talking to you. She's conversing with you. You're her friend. You guys are quilting together. You like to cook and to sew and to garden. I mean, I just can't say enough about Kate and the Last Homely House YouTube channel. And I'm so thrilled and honored that I had the opportunity to chat with her and have her on my show. So we recorded this episode in early April, just to give you kind of like a time perspective on it. And stay tuned to the very, very end, because I have a little funny outtake clip that I think you might enjoy, and it's at the very end. So be sure to stay and listen for that. Okay, so my guest today is Kate from the Last Homely House East of the Sea, and this is a YouTube channel, and I would probably say hands down my absolute favorite YouTube channel. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say that. And thank you very much for talking to me today.
I am so happy to have you. I've just been looking forward to this for the longest time, and I'm so glad you said yes.
Yeah, absolutely, I would, of course.
But I'm going to just tell you how I found you. So I started watching your channel maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was doing a search for Liberty fabric videos. I love Liberty. Mm-hmm. And there you were. And then you were piecing together, I think, a trip around the world quilt or something. And then from then on, I think I must have watched like 10 videos in a row then after that. It was just fantastic. I loved it. And I just think that you have a very natural and easy way to your videos, and they're comforting, and especially now. So like at the start of your videos, I don't know if you still do it, but you always used to say, "Hello, YouTube." And
hello, YouTube friends.
Yes, hello, YouTube friends. And I would say, "Hello, Kate. What are we going to?" I would talk back to you, like you can hear me. Like I say, "What are we going to do today, Kate?" And then you say, "Today we're going out to the garden."
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's great. And I have a lot of similarities with you because I do a lot of the same things you do, multiple crafts and gardening and that sort of thing.
And I think that's what I'm finding is that we are all really interested in many, many things. You know, if someone says, "Oh, what is it you do?" I haven't got one thing that I like to do. I wake up that morning and think, "Oh, what do I fancy doing today?" And if the weather's good, it's gardening. Or if there's an amazing piece of fabric on the design board, it'll be sewing. Or it's sock knitting. Or it's writing. There's many, many, many different things I like to do. And I think that what I've found with the Lost Homely House is that I've connected with people like you, who also find a great interest in how do you put that together, or how does that craft work, or will this be something that will inspire me? And you know, we've all got craft supplies tucked away in little corners, haven't we?
Yes.
And unfinished projects under the bed. We've all got them. I know we have.
Yes.
And it's because we've got a curiosity. And I think the Last Homely House, I've found many, many people who share that curiosity of materials and process.
Yes, definitely. And on your channel description, you say you like to share all the things you love to do in the north of England. And you say a glorious celebration of my simple life. And I think that is a perfect description of your channel. And it's what I love so much about your channel. Your simple life to me is luxurious, simple, luxurious, because I am the antithesis of where you live, and I'm urban and in a city, and I crave what I see on your channel.
And I think that by accident that I'm providing people a little glimpse into a little piece of paradise. I know that where I live is really, really lovely. And my life wasn't always like this. I drove away and went to a busy job, and I had young children, and I did all the things that, you know, those busy things, living life pretty much in the fast lane. But then just lately, these past few years, I've been able to move over into the slow lane and just take notice more. That my children are all grown up. I live here on my own, and I don't go to work any longer because I'm old enough not to. And I really relish the chance then to spend my days in this simple. It's about simplicity. It really is. It's about slowing right down and noticing. It doesn't matter how long something takes to do. It absolutely doesn't. If it takes 3 days to do something, that's fine. I'll really just enjoy that process. And almost like the end product is secondary. It's the process of doing.
And you can tell that you love it, which is also really nice and appealing to see. And it just transports me into another world. And the landscape, there's just the rolling hills. There's like,
it is beautiful.
And I love that a few videos, especially, you show this countryside, and you were walking along some pasture, and then you came up and there was this really old stone like fence wall thing. And
Well, Stephanie, it's really
amazed.
interesting to hear you say that, because I've lived here for 34 years now, and I pretty much take it for granted. I don't take it for granted, but it's very normal for me.
Sure.
And it was only when I started getting comments saying, oh, look at that dry stone wall, or, oh, my word, look at those amazing trees. And people were really wanting to see what was going on outside.
Yes.
And so I thought, I suppose I should do more outdoor videos. And so I try now. I mean, I posted one to the channel a couple of days ago where I just walked literally around the dam where I live. I live next to a big 14-acre lake. I just walked around it and showed people pictures of the goose swimming in the lake and all of that. And I don't think I realized just how much people were going to enjoy that aspect of things.
And we do, yeah.
Yes, and I think because I suppose initially I thought, well, people might like to see the crafts, or I remember 2.5 years ago, I turned the camera on and I started spinning, and I thought, well, maybe people might be interested to see this, and then I put a bit of quilting up and a bit of this and that, and I thought it would always kind of be more of an instructional channel, but it very quickly became not that. It very quickly became more about, what am I doing today? And a sort of a sharing of my little slice of the world, which is, I admit, I feel very fortunate to live here. I really do. And so to get to share it with so many people, it's a joy, an absolute joy. It really is.
Yeah. And it's just so, it is. It's like a dreamy place, and it's so green and lush. And just like your cottage and everything, I'm like, this is like the Shire. This is like taking me to Hobbit land.
Yes.
And,
well, that's what the Last Homely House is, don't you? I think I've explained it a couple of times, but the Last Homely House East of the Sea is a quote from Tolkien. I'm a massive Tolkien fan, Lord of the Rings. All of those. Okay, well, you need to know this, because the Last Homely House East of the Sea is what Tolkien describes is the name he gives to Rivendell, which is where the elves live. Now, it all gets a little bit airy-fairy here, but Rivendell, if you've seen the movies or if you've read the book, right, well, Rivendell is that amazing place where people go to be healed, to feel better, to rest, to sing, to enjoy each other's company, or to be solitary. And so on my channel, in my About page, there is the direct quote from the Tolkien book, The Hobbit, which says what the Last Homely House East of the Sea is. Now, it's a strange name for a channel. and when I tell it to people, they go, the what? And nobody really understands. But when I explain to them what the Last Homely House is, makes perfect sense, because that's how it feels to me, that's what I'm trying to create here, is somewhere where people can feel at ease. And you read that description in the About page on my channel. I
read that and I saw the Tolkien, but I'm not as familiar with, those types of quotes from the book, because I've only seen the movies, but, so I wasn't sure if it was from The Hobbit, but even before I ever read that page of yours, that is what I envisioned. Isn't it like weird, strange?
I'm not going to show you my feet, but they are very hairy. I would be a hobbit. In that movie, they would cast me as a hobbit really easily.
Well, let's talk about, wait, I'm going to tell you one more thing. So during this pandemic we're going through across the globe, all of these platforms online are offering free, time, like, so Great Courses Plus, is kind of like a class platform, and they offer 30 days free. So I've been watching it, and these classes are different than like a Skillshare or a Blueprint. They're a little bit more like, professor taught intellectual. There's math and science and history and travel. So I've been watching this one about England, because I just love learning everything about England anyway. I watch all of the masterpiece. I mean, because the cinematography, again, is what like your scenery reminds me of. It's like this masterpiece, classic series. But so he's going through all of the sections of England. And when he got up to the north, the North England, he said like Northumberland is Wuthering Heights country. And I was like, yes, it is.
It's an interesting place. Northumberland, mostly people, when they are able to travel, are going to the Lake District, which is over in Cumbria, which is very, very beautiful and very touristy, or they're heading off up to Scotland. And most people just motor straight on through and don't even look at Northumberland, which means it's Britain's best kept secret, Northumberland.
Yes. Yeah.
It means that it's pretty underpopulated and it's really wild in areas. We have the most spectacular coastline. And if we weren't locked down, I would be going to the coast later in the year to show people the fantastic coastline. We have the best coastline in England.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to see
that. It's
so
beautiful.
Yeah. So gorgeous.
No, so we're a well-kept secret. We have Hadrian's Wall, which is really rather amazing. You know, the last outpost of the Emperor Hadrian, as far as the Roman Empire got, was just 10 miles up the road from me.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, also, too, he started with the ancient history. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just the history that you have versus what we have in America here is just vast.
Yeah.
It just really goes way back.
I never underestimate it. I really do appreciate it. I really do.
So let's talk about your lovely home. You love the color pink. I like it too, pink.
Really do. You have pink and green, those two together.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love them.
You have pink walls in your kitchen, which are fun.
Yes.
And you have really pretty tile that has green in the tile, which is really pretty. And then I watched your videos when you were redoing your HQ. Was it Pink HQ?
Pink HQ.
Yes.
My office.
Yes,
Pink
your
HQ.
office. So nice.
Yeah. That's a spare bedroom. And I was doing the shipping from the table, this big table here, and getting muddled up with fabric here and fiber here and postage stamps here. So one day I just decided, right, I need an office. And Pink HQ is marvelous. I love it up there. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, very
nice.
Nice.
Got a good view. It's got a good view out of the window.
Yeah. You have a good view from everywhere. It's so amazing. So, and where you're at now, you're sitting in, do you call it conservatory or?
Yeah. So this bit, a house has got quite an interesting history. And this bit was built on about 30 years ago. And this bit I call the conservatory because it's got big windows across the front. Fantastic light. And it's where I have my big table that I don't care what happens to. I can hammer nails. I was making some frames for my bees the other day, and I was hammering nails on there. I can paint. I can do anything on that table, and it doesn't matter because it's the scrappiest old table. I'll tell you about that table. Somebody commissioned a table to be made and was throwing that table away because their brand new table was arriving and their kitchen table was all new and smart. And this table was being thrown out. And so I just said, could you throw it in my direction, please? And it's been the basis of everything I do. It's fantastic. So I call this the conservatory. I have the big design wall on the back here, which is really just a couple of sheets of polystyrene from the builders merchants covered over with that stuff that lines curtains. Oh,
inner lining.
Yes, but it's called bump. Which,
bump cloth. Yes. Yeah.
It's covered over. It's very cheap, but it's also furry, so it sticks. The fabric sticks to it really well, and also the pins go into the polystyrene. I couldn't manage without that board.
I know. I made one for mine too, and I love it. I didn't even know what I did before without it.
No,
you just use it all the time.
Step back and have a look from a distance. It has two great functions. It has that one, but its other great function is the cats can't sleep on it.
Oh, right.
Because cats sleep on everything. Everything I lay on the table, I have to either cover it up or hang it up on the board.
Okay.
Because otherwise there'll be one of these four cats asleep on it.
Oh, man. So, I love that huge table, and you have just beautiful light that comes in there. And
it faces south, so I get great light.
Okay, yeah. And in that room too, you have these beautiful curtains that you made.
Yes, the curtain.
They are made from this what's called a postage stamp block.
That's right.
And you said you counted them, and there are 7,000 squares.
At least I did count them all once. Well, I didn't count them all. I counted down and across and multiplied them. That was about the approximate. But shall I tell you how those curtains came about, Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay. So I I used to work at a proper job, but I've always been interested in crafts, always. And when I was easing out of work and easing into working for myself, I started teaching all sorts of different crafts. And one of the courses that I taught was an absolute beginner's guide to patchwork, to quilting. And I would teach 5 or 6 people at a time in a studio that's about 14 miles from here. A friend of mine has a fantastic studio space, and she would cook all the food and I would teach, and we would do these little courses. So I put together a teaching book with about 3 or 4, 5 different types of blocks. So a very simple log cabin block, how to construct that. A very simple flying goose, how to make the no waste flying goose. And I would make little samples for each of them. So I made a small block of postage stamp quilt, maybe, I don't know, 10 by 20, something like that, of the 1.5 inch, 2 inch squares. And I wanted to see how it looked from a distance, so I stuck it up in the window. I just stuck it up with a bit of tape in the window and stepped back. I thought, that looks nice. That would look nice as curtains.
Yes.
Well, once I'd had that thought, I couldn't not have it. So I made acres and acres and acres of postage stamp curtains out of every bit of scrap that I had lying around. It took me months because I would do so much and think, that's enough, I don't need to do any more. But then I would look at and think, well, that window hasn't got one. So I had better make another curtain. Eventually, they were all made. And what a task it was. I love them, but I would not make them again.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I may not make that much again.
Well, there's a lot of window space that they cover. And when you have them closed and you're sitting in front of them in the daytime and you're filming, it looks like stained glass. They illuminate.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
That was the idea.
Are they lined in the back or?
Yeah, they are with a thin cotton.
Yeah,
just a thin cotton.
That's why.
Just to give it a bit more substance, really. Yeah.
Right.
So I made the piece and I just put just like making a duvet cover, I guess. I just sewed all the way around it, turned it inside out, and then I put the hooks across the top.
Right.
It was simple, very, very simple.
Yeah, but it just really makes a statement and an impact, and it just is so cheery and happy. Like I would love to walk into that room and see that color every day.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to create here, and have created, really. I've kind of reinvented this house in a way that makes sense to me. You know, I live here on my own and have done for 10 years now. And I just really needed to make this space belong to just me. And it really does now, with my funky chandelier and my all my strange and curious things.
I love it.
them.
I do too. And, in fact, you know, England is known for loving color. And I love watching TV shows with people in England and when they're decorating and stuff, because they really are not afraid of color. And here in America, people are so afraid of color. And,
really?
Yeah. And I've been in the interior design business for like 18 years, and I love color, but it's just, most people, especially here in the Midwest too, I think out by Florida and California, they definitely do a lot more color. But it's just like they all want it just so like white, beige, gray.
I think there might be, I might be a little bit strange in this. My wonderful daughter-in-law, Anna, her house is beautiful shades of lovely Scandinavian type kind of simplicity. And that's beautiful too.
Oh, it is.
You know, it's gorgeous with like understated sofas and lovely cushions and all of that, and curtains, all of that, but nothing else. I can't live like that. I have to have a lot of stuff around me.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting things, just a lot of things.
Me too.
I love things.
Me too. I'm the same way.
Things.
Yeah. And I don't mind a Scandinavian, like when they had that, there was a country Scandinavian style where the white painted wood and stuff, but then they would put color in there with their fabrics, and they would have reds and blues. Really pretty. Yeah, mixed with their whites.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe just do what you like.
Yeah.
I think, people say, oh, your colours are so bold. And I say, well, it was just a tin of paint. When you put it on the wall, you hate it. You can always put another one over the top of it.
Yeah.
And because I tell you, I painted the walls pink and stood back and looked at them. And I thought, that's not pink enough. It was too pale.
Oh, too pale.
So, so about 6 months later, I got a different shade of pink and did it again. And now it's the right.
Yeah.
Now it was too light.
It looks nice.
It's a nice pink. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So definitely a girl's house.
But it's fun and it's very lovely and I love it. And I did want to backtrack a little bit because you said that you started as a sort of like a instructional videos and it hasn't become that. But I do love the instructional videos because you did teach how to do the postage stamp blocks and then you taught a few other things.
I think I've pasted myself into a corner here because what the channel seems to have become, and especially now in these, how we've been talking for so long without mentioning the terrible global situation. It's a terrible time for us all at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I began a few weeks ago just making these little checking in with people. Are you okay? You're doing fine, all of that. And my little taking care videos, which have taken off in a way that I could never have anticipated. People, you talk about that, the people who are offering instructional videos for free, like your lecturers and so on. I think there's such a lot of, the response has been from content creators has been, let's do some uplifting, some helpful videos, podcasts, stuff that will help people through this isolation. Mm-hmm. And I think about all the people who are out there who are doing exactly what we're supposed to do, staying put, doing the best thing we can to keep this virus under control. And it's very, very hard what we're all trying to do, but we can connect with one another through this strange medium of the internet. It's marvelous that we have this, but it seems to me like whenever I do try now to do a more instructional video, people really just want me to turn the camera on and chat to them, take them to a pretty place. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so Norma is here. If you're just listening to this, you can't see Norma. She's always here.
Yes.
And so I've done this where I've made a plan. And I've got everything together and I've got all the fabrics out and so on. I thought, all right, I'm going to do this as a little tutorial and I've put it all together. And then the comments will be, oh, well, that was all right, but where was Norma?
Oh. You know that old saying, don't work with animals or children?
Tell me about it, Stephanie. Tell me about it. This cat.
She's become the star.
She has, and she has quite a story. I wrote I have the little online shop, and I wrote a little book about Norma. Mm-hmm. It's called Kate's Cat Norma, and she has quite a remarkable story.
Oh, nice.
And she's 19 now.
Oh, wow.
And she is definitely, she's my little shadow.
Oh,
and she was quite remarkable little history this cat's got.
Oh, good. I'm glad to know that she's living a great life with
she's
you
happy now.
Yeah. She's very happy.
So I would like to get back to the making and the instructional videos. I really would. And at the moment, I'm not posting exactly daily, but more, at least 5 times a week now. I'm posting these little take care videos, and they really are just a few minutes of me saying, "Oh, I did this today. Went to the post office, saw Phil, came back, gave Norma some food. All of that." And it seems to be that the feedback I'm getting in the comments is that it's what people want. It's helping me as well.
Oh,
it's
is
what
it?
I want.
Good. I look forward to those every day when you started to do those. And some of them are like 8 minutes long and they're just perfect. They're just that little bit of cheer and happiness. And then I get to see this beautiful, countryside that you have there again and your animals.
You're not wrong, because people have said to me, because I've sometimes feel a little bit bad that I can just go outside and do what I like in this lockdown situation. And I felt a bit bad about that. And people have said, no, 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 we're sitting here in our city houses or apartments.
Yep.
We want to see you're outside. Please show us outside.
Yeah.
So I realize now that I need to do far, far more of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Far,
yeah. And the one, the video that you did do a few days back where you were walking through and you're talking about the trees that you've planted, and and you said at one point, I just stuck some twigs in the ground and the trees grow.
That's what willow does. Willow is amazing.
Wow.
Stuff. You just have to remember to stick it in the right way up, pointing upward. But it will grow anywhere.
That is amazing.
It really will. And if you're remembering that video, they were about 15 years ago, and they were big, mature trees, weren't they? They were taller than me.
Yeah.
And they are very good for drying up wet ground, which is what I've got.
Yeah.
Because the house here is below the level of that dam. And so it's an artificial. And so the ground there is incredibly wet.
All right.
So willow does well there, very well.
Yeah. I mean, you have created almost like your own personal arboretum with these trees, and you just have this beautiful like parts to your landscape, your garden and everything. And the thing also that I love about it is that none of it's contrived. Like none of it to me looks like I can't achieve that. Like
no.
Sometimes when you see perfection and you're just like, all right, well,
it's a long way.
Not going to do that.
Every year I get some paid help in the garden for the summer just to do the heavy jobs that I simply can't do. And that won't be possible this year. So you'll see a lot less of a manicured garden this year, Stephanie. It will be far more attainable, I tell you, because I have to turn my back on some of it. I won't be able to do.
Okay.
I just simply can't garden it. It's too big.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll do the parts I can do.
It's good.
And I'll, and let the rest go wild.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and you can only do so much. And gardening is actually a hard labor. It really is.
Hard. It really is hard. I've got 7 raised beds. Why did I think I needed 7 raised beds? I don't know. But they were put in about 3 years ago, and the help I had that year was very enthusiastic indeed. We can put another raised bed here, Kate. So I ended up with 7, and I'll probably plant up half of those.
Yeah. Or you could just toss in some wildflower seeds in the ones you're not using.
That's right. And I was looking yesterday at wwhere I did do exactly that along the fence line, and they're all coming back now, which is really
great. Yeah, I love that. Love it.
Yeah. And the bit where the willow was, what I call the front woods here, I never garden that ever. I just leave that to do what it likes. It's probably, 4 acres maybe. And it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the farm, but nobody can do anything with it. I mean, my situation here is I rent this cottage on the farm. I don't farm, I just live here, but I do know all the farm people. I mean, there's no one living here at the moment. So I have this piece of land I'm custodian of, but I don't do anything with it. And every year, there's a pair of deer actually live in the front here and have one little baby deer. And so they'll be doing that again this year.
Oh, nice.
I have to get a wildlife cam to catch them because I see them occasionally fleetingly, but so there's a couple, and sometimes they come into the garden and eat the tops off my trees, which isn't very good.
All right.
But no, I love thinking about what might be living down there all by itself. I love that.
And I think too, your natural way of living is really nice to see, and we, especially city dwellers, just would love. I saw like you showed this basket of eggs. Those blue eggs are so beautiful, and I always want fresh eggs.
Well, the hens have been the bane of my life just lately, but we've sorted out the hen situation now. I always say we, it is only me, but the hen situation is sorted out now. And so the hens are all enclosed now and they can't get into my garden. I fenced them. A couple of friends of mine came and did this for me, and they fenced them out of my garden, which means that Clara the hen can't get in and eat all my vegetables like she did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the other hens can't all do that. Now, it also means that I can collect the eggs, because I never used to be able to, because they would just lay wherever they wanted to, under bushes and down anywhere. And I would never get, I would get maybe 2 eggs a day.
Huh.
Well, I'm getting about 10 a day now.
Yeah.
But I'll let you into another secret. I don't actually eat eggs.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't dislike them, but I'll eat them in cakes or something. Or
I was going
make
to say,
a
do you bake with them? Okay.
No,
yeah.
I would bake with them if I wanted to, but I don't. I would never eat an egg as an egg. So I give them away. My son loves them, and I have 3 neighbours who live across the other side of the dam, and they get a dozen a week each as well. So the eggs all go.
I was wondering why you were saying, oh, my son would like these and they would like, I'm like, where? There's not enough for you. That's why.
No, I don't have any. Maybe 1 a month I eat. It's a little bit strange.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know that you don't eat meat, but you still make this beautifully delicious food. And I love seeing that you make these soups and everything. And the one time, one of the first cooking videos I saw of yours, you were chopping up vegetables, and I think you were making some sort of a stew or a soup. And you said, "Oh, I'm just chopping up these courgettes," and I was like, "Oh, what's a courgette?"
Now, I've realized I've caused a lot of confusion with
I love
courgette.
it. I'm calling them that now because it's such a pretty word. It sounds so much better than zucchini.
Well, I've never known them as zucchini, and so they're always going to be courgettes. And I planted my courgette seeds last week, and they're just starting to pop through. Oh, so I'll definitely have courgettes this year. Yes. I love them.
Yeah.
In every courgette soup, courgette. Oh, anyway.
They're so versatile. You can make courgette noodles too.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. With a special machine.
Yeah, I got one of those last year. It was fun. Mm-hmm.
A spiralizer.
Yeah, spiralizer. Yeah. So let's talk about all the different like quilting and sewing that you do. It's just really nice. So one of the unique things I think about you too is that, you do machine piece quilt tops, but you hand quilt them, which is really nice.
Quilt them. Yeah, I hand quilt them. Why? I like the drape that you get with hand quilting. My quilting stitches, Indian cantha stitch. You know what I mean by that? Cantha stitch is like, they're just sort of not running stitches, but my mum used to hand quilt, and she used to use very thin quilting cotton and use tiny, tiny little stitches, which looked to me too much like hard work. I use Aurifil 12, which is this absolutely fabulous thread. I absolutely love it. I have used 3 strands of embroidery thread before, waxed with beeswax, which is perfectly fine if you use a good quality one that isn't going to run. But the Aurifil, I can trust that completely. And my stitches, they're not huge, but they're not tiny. And so when I get to that stage, when I've got the quilt sandwich ready and I've got the idea in my head about how I want to quilt this, that's almost my favorite bit of quilting, because I'll get an audiobook on or a box set of Elementary or something on the computer here, and I will stitch with my little pink clover thimble, which is...
I've got that too. Love it.
Well, it's almost like an extension of my finger.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even want to take it off, but I'll just sit and stitch rhythmically. It's going to sound corny, but it's like a meditation. It really is. It's just like the most soothing thing to have fabric in your hands and to have the simple task. It's not, you don't have to think about anything, but because you're doing it, you're not thinking about anything. This is part of what I'm saying to the people who turn up for these taking care videos, is that when your head starts to spiral into worry and concern and anxiety, if you use your hands to ground you, I mean, this isn't rocket science. I think we all know this, but for me, that's stitching, and hours can pass without me even realizing that that, I've finished half a quilt. I absolutely love it. I really do.
Yeah, and your stitches do sort of remind me of sashiko stitching because it's kind of spaced a little bit like that.
That's right. Exactly that. And also the quilts I make are very simple. I don't go in for great big complicated patterns. I love those. I think they're great. But I like, when I started quilting, it was simple squares, just 5-inch squares, placed nicely, placed properly. I think that's why I got into Liberty. I was very, very fortunate to be given a lot of liberty.
Wow.
I know how lucky I was here. My mum had a friend who was an amazing quilter, and she was quite a classy woman. She really was. She only had really, really great quality things. And when she was downsizing, and she moved to a tiny little house from a huge house when she was widowed, and she just had to get rid of stuff. And Mum would say to me, my mum died 2.5 years ago, but my dad's still going strong. But my mum would say they lived 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. Kathleen's been, I'd say, has she? She's left some things for you in the spare room. Now, I didn't even know what these things were, but I knew whatever they were, they would be amazing. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of boxes full of Liberty prints, prints. And it started me on the way of thinking. I brought them home and I didn't use them for the longest time because I thought, no, they're far too precious to use. I can't use those. So I'd carry on making quilts with beautiful quilting cotton, Kay Fawcett and Anna Maria Horner, all those really beautiful designers that I love. I'm a bit of a fabric snob, actually. Let's admit that now. But every now and then I would open up the Liberty and think, no, I can't possibly use that, and push it away again. And then one day I thought, why do I do that? Why don't I just use it?
I know, you keep it so precious, and then it just, you don't get to enjoy it because it's in a box.
Exactly. So I've changed that attitude now. Mm-hmm. If I've got something beautiful, it's because it needs to be used, not revered. Mm-hmm. And so I made a quilt. Can I do a little name dropping here?
Yes.
I can, can't I? Because it's so long ago. I made a quilt, and it was in a little exhibition that was near here. And I sold the Liberty quilt to Mark Knopfler.
Who is it? I don't know.
Knopfler. Okay. Dire Straits.
Oh, Dire Straits.
Yes. Dire Straits.
Yes.
Lead singer.
I know the Dire Straits.
Well, Mark Knopfler's a northeastern boy.
Oh.
I sold it. So I get a real thrill out of thinking, I know that he's sleeping underneath my...
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
I know, that was my one place. I dined out on that for an awfully long time, but it was about 6 years ago now. So I think,
that is so cool. Yeah.
I know, it's one of my moments, that. But anyway, that got me into using the stuff, and it was a lovely result, because whenever you put two pieces of Liberty fabric together, you can't go wrong.
Oh, I know.
You just can't go wrong. It's just so beautiful. Yeah. Their designers are just something else. They're absolutely brilliant. So that got me started using Liberty fabric. Mm-hmm. And this story hasn't got a happy ending, sadly, but the mill that made the Liberty fabric was in Lancaster on the way to my parents. And so I would stop off on the way, and I got to know the staff there really well, because I would go there and I would buy all these factory seconds, and which would mean that there might be a little mistake in it somewhere. But when you're cutting it up for patchwork, you can cut around that.
Yeah.
Well, 2 years ago, maybe, they moved all the production to Italy. Oh. And so they don't make it there any longer.
What?
Yeah,
but so it's Liberty of London. It's UK.
I was very upset about that, because this is part of my heritage now. That you sold. I mean, I'm sure the Italians are really enjoying printing it, and it all gets sent back to Liberty, where it is £25 a meter, which is way out of my pocket.
Oh, but, I know. It's even, that's why I was going to ask you, because if it's it's a UK product, so it might be less expensive for you guys versus for us.
Really. No, and you'll have the shipping and so on top of that. Mm-hmm. But no, if you were to go to Liberties of London, which I heartily recommend, by the way, when all of this is over,
on my
it's a fantastic building.
Oh.
It's on your bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic building. It's a beautiful building. And you walk in there and you feel like people should be serving you canapes on little silver trays. It's just so posh. It's amazing. And so, but if I just go to look at it, I couldn't possibly afford to buy it from there. But when I discovered the mill in Lancaster and made friends with Daniel and all the people in the shop there, it was really, really great for a few years. But so now I've got my stack of Liberty, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Oh,
I know, sadly.
Well, I really got to know Liberty because I had a design client that commissioned quilts for me. First a wedding quilt for her daughter, and I did a double wedding ring, and she loves Liberty. So in design, Liberty used to have home deck fabric in our our design center here. Scalamandre repped it and sold it, and they had the most gorgeous home deck weight fabric with those beautiful prints. So we would use those in her window treatments, and she just loves them. And she had purchased table linens made out of the Tana lawn. So then I started making this stuff for her, and I get to order all of this Liberty fabric. And
that's quite a thrill, isn't it?
It is. And so then I made friends with this one studio, and it's actually just a state over from me in Michigan, and it's called Duckadilly. And it's so cute. And that's all she sells is Liberty. And so, so then I'm on her mailing list, and anytime she'll have a remnant sale, or sometimes there'll just be like a little bag of scraps. Yeah. I'll do it because, like you said, you can do little, English paper piecing, or,
somebody once said to me, how small would a piece of Liberty have to be before you would throw it out? And I said, you would need a microscope because I can use all of it. And even the tiniest little scraps, you can collage it. Yes. You can stick it onto postcards, and you can make beautiful, because so last year I have patrons. I have a Patreon page going, and last year's Patreon gift for one tier was a handmade postcard, and the Liberty came out every month for making that. They were all moon themed, and so there'll be some sort of moon quote, and then some sort of moon represented there, and then all these beautiful bits of Liberty making the landscape or making the sky or whatever. I had the best time, and I used loads and loads and loads of my tiny little scraps. So get your microscope out, don't throw any bit away.
No. Yeah, no. And I made those wedding quilts, and the little when there were little pieces left over, like this one quilt where there were a lot of flying geese units, and then you had those little extra triangles. They went into a Ziploc bag. I still have it, so I'm like, I'm gonna do something with this. It's not going in the trash.
Right above my head here, I've got a jam jar full of all those little tails that I cut off my flying goose. It's all up there.
I love it.
Thieves, all the blue ones in this jar and the pink ones in this jar.
Oh, cool! Very cool. So, then you also did, which was really cool. I just have to note this for my listeners, and they can go find the video. I'll put a link to this video on my podcast page. But you did an EPP stuffed dog.
Yes, I did. Oh, it wasn't my person. Yeah,
no, but it was just.
It's great, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it brilliant?
I have to make that.
I must have made that dog 20 times for various babies throughout the years. That looks good in Liberty too.
Yeah. I need to make that.
The dog, I did a sew along for that.
Well,
one.
It's all squares. It's not as complex as you think it would be.
So easy to do. It really is so easy. Yeah. And if you scale the squares up and down, you get a different sized dog. So, a 2-inch square will make quite a big dog. But if you just take it down to 1.5 inches, it makes quite a nice sort of tuck it under your arm sort of dog.
Oh, yeah. Perfect for little kids. Mm-hmm.
I made one for Agnes. So she has one.
Oh, yay.
My granddaughter. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's another type of sewing that you do. When they were expecting Agnes, you did a series.
Yes, I
and
did.
You made like knit pants and all kinds of stuff for her. That was
I did a
just
series
really
called
lovely.
Sewing for Baby, didn't I? I did some little hats, didn't I, that were lined with Liberty or reversible. Sewing for Baby, and a ball with those five-sided, those pentagon shapes.
Yes.
The little ball. And people. So if people make anything because they've seen me make it and they like it and want to make it themselves, it's not like, you can get inspired from all over the place. I didn't make these things up. I found them from somewhere else.
Right.
But they can go on Instagram and use a hashtag. It's a really complicated hashtag because it turns out that all the ones I wanted to use were used. So I had to make up a new hashtag that where people, if they've made something, they can put it on Instagram, post it there. I can see it. Everyone else can see it. Now, the hashtag references the lime green sofa.
Yes.
Now, this came about by total accident. The whole concept of the lime green sofa, which is where everybody sits when we're doing a YouTube video together on the sofa. And that came about because in the comments I would read over and over again, oh, I really enjoyed that. It was just like having a chat with a friend. It was just like sitting across the table from you, having a chat and a cup of tea. And I read that over and over again, that I thought, well, maybe we are all here chatting together. And so I invented the sofa. Why is it lime green? I have no idea. That just came out of I thought, well, that would be fun if it was green. What sort of green? Lime green. And so the lime green sofa with the pink cushions and the patchwork footstools and the allergy-free cats, it became a really big thing where, I would just say, oh, just pass the tea down, will you? Just make sure the biscuits, they're not ones you like, just pass them on. Some more will be coming soon. And the sofa has become my little community where I'm on the sofa too with all the other people, all my other YouTube friends. And, that image, it's so sustaining. People use that reference over and over again. Oh, I'm just settling down on the lime green sofa. I should be careful of what I name things because they become things. Anyway, and just the other day, the Queen did an address to the nation in the UK. And I saw it and some of the people saw it. And I said, make a bit of space because I think the Queen would quite like it on the sofa. So the Queen's on the sofa now. And people are suggesting, oh, do you think she would like these crumpets? Yes, pass them down. And so it's an image. I do well with visual imagery. I really do. And it's an image that now makes me really happy to think that the lime green sofa's all the way to New Zealand and back.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So bring me back to the hashtag. It's lime green sofa at Last Homely House. So it's LGS. LHH, or it could be the other way around. LHH, LGS. Yes, it's LHH, Last Homely House. Oh, wait. LGS.
LHH, LGS.
LGS.
Last Homely House, lime green sofa. Got it.
So, I should be really careful before I start naming things because they become things.
But that's a fun name, lime green sofa. That's fun. Yeah. So that's your hashtag. We'll definitely make sure that's out in the show notes.
Yeah, and so if people watch something, I mean, even if they don't, I think the reason why I've asked people to use that hashtag is in the comments, people would say, oh, I'm making a quilt for my granddaughter, or I'm making this today, or I've just finished knitting a hat. And I think, well, what does it look like? You can see my knitting. Well, let me look at yours. So the hashtag. The first day I launched it, I have terrible insomnia. And so I went online at 3 a.m. and I thought, I just wonder if anyone's using that hashtag. Well, it was full of pictures and pictures and pictures of people's gardening, people's cooking, people's making. The whole idea of getting into your hands, the making part, it just put a massive smile on my insomniac face at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was brilliant.
I love it.
So yeah, share stuff because it's as I say when I remember to and get the chance to. I don't know anything more than anyone else, I've stuck the camera on and I'm filming myself doing it. It's a bit narcissistic in a way, but I'm just doing this.
Yes.
Well, it is really, I mean, my friends think I'm round the bend, what is he? What? And my kids in the early days, my kids were like, what's Mum doing? What's she doing? He's got a YouTube channel. Why? But actually, the more successful it's become, and especially as Patreon has grown as well, I get help from all my kids now.
You do. Yeah. And they make appearances on your videos, which is fun.
Well, John does. John's really fine about that. He's my son, my middle son, and he's got no worries at all about, because mostly people do feel a little bit awkward about being on camera. And girl Rita doesn't mind either being on camera. I had to, differentiate because of cat Rita.
Right.
My son met Rita after I'd named the cat.
Oh, okay.
And so it was very confusing. I'd say, Rita, get off the sofa. And Rita would be, what? So it's cat Rita when she's around, and girl Rita as well.
Rita. Okay.
So girl Rita doesn't mind a bit being, she does videos with me, but unfortunately she lives in Canada.
Oh, okay. You recently made a trip over there.
I did. It was my son's birthday, and I did a spontaneous trip to see my son Owen for his birthday. Owen works in film, and he's got a lot of incredible skills on manipulating images digitally. And so for the patrons, I have the zine that I make, and I do all the writing for the zine, and Rita does all the editing. And Owen messes about with the pictures so that there's let's see, if there's a spread of where the pictures all have to look really gorgeous.
Yes.
Then Owen will make that happen.
Oh, wow. How nice.
And then before the lockdown, Anna was doing lots of my photography. John pins things.
Yes, he was pinning the maps.
Well, when he can, he does. Right. And then Martha, my daughter, and her partner Adam, I write this, but they do all the edit and all the illustrations on another of the Patreon rewards, which is called Stories from the Last Homely House Kitchen, which is, and I'll show you the one, my favorite. Well, if you're listening to this, you can't see. Sorry about that. But this is all the pictures of my daughter draws all of these line drawings, and then I do some writing, which is all stories from the kitchen. They may be recipes, or they may be more like just funny anecdotes or whatever. Very nice. So all of my kids help me to do that, and still mostly can. Anna can't do the photography anymore or the edits, but she'll get back to that when this is over. But she's been invaluable in help. She helped me enormously when we did the Advent videos.
Love those. Let's talk about that. So you did, it's leading up to Christmas, Advent videos every day for 24 days, right?
Yes, that's right.
And those were great. And the one thing that you made, that crepe paper ball with the chocolate coins in between the layers, and then there was like the gift in the middle. Yeah. That was so fun.
Yeah, and little quiz questions.
That's kind of something where you kind of combined little instructional, but with you just talking to us. Yeah. And because I could learn, I was learning how you did that because you were just doing it.
Because that was so simple.
Yeah.
That didn't need an instruction. Really.
Right, no.
It was, you can see, you get so with that one, you just get the little bits that you need, you can buy crepe paper in 2-inch wide strips in a myriad of colors, and then just, go for it, little present in between each one.
So much fun.
I used to make those for kids for Christmas, and I used to put glitter in between the layers. Oh. Until one mum said that her kid had opened it in bed. Oh. And would I please not put glitter in anymore? I have a relationship with glitter that not a lot of people understand. I love it, and not many other people do.
Right. I know it's kind of funny, but you made well, I don't know if this was glitter, but it was sort of like a confetti that you filled in this clear window in a card, which I thought was wonderful. Yeah. That was fun.
That's an easy one for people to make, where you just make an aperture in a card and then fill it full of Well, anything, beads, glitter, sequins, just something flat and just, and it kind of moves about a little bit, but they were fun to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Advent videos, Anna and I dreamed those up in August. Can you believe it? We came up with the idea, let's do a video every day in Advent, Kate. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. And to start with, we had a big plan on the wall. It was, it was like, right, we're going to do this and then followed by that. And I'll come over on Tuesday. And it was all that. It was great. It was great, because we had a mix of cooking and making and so on every single day. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, best known only to myself, I decided that as a gift to my patrons from every tier, from $1 up, I would do a daily reading. And so I was making 2 videos a day for 24 days. Now, the reading, because there's a problem with copyright, I always run into this problem of reading copyrighted things. I read something I'd written. So I gave myself permission to read it. And I read my New Zealand journal and did stories and anecdotes and photographs of the time that I went to New Zealand, which was an amazing trip. Oh, nice. I can't believe it was 7 years ago, but it was. And so I was doing a daily video for the patrons and I was doing a daily video for the channel. And in the middle of all of this, my dad's 94 and he lives a long way away. My brother lives nearby and he takes care of him on a day-to-day basis, but we do this together. And so a problem occurred, not with my dad particularly, but with his care. So in the middle of all of this, I had to drive down to where my dad lives and help sort that out and carry on posting daily videos. And it was a very difficult time in my life. So I've decided ever make 2 videos a day again, ever.
Right.
Which is why when I'm doing my little taking care videos, there will never be one on the day that I post to Patreon because I'm making their video. They get a video every week and a live stream and readings and so on, and for the Patreon page. And so I'll always be missing when on the main channel when I'm doing that, just to keep my sanity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is so much work. And I started a Patreon page back in September, and I knew, well, I've been podcasting for about almost 2 years now. And the first year I did it almost the entire year round. And then I was getting burnt out. So I took like 2 months off in the summer, a month and a half, came back in the fall and started my Patreon page. And so, they get a bonus episode once a month. And I know that one is not going to post on the same day or, hopefully not the same week as the regular podcast.
Exactly. You've got to schedule it.
You do.
You've got to make it fit in because it has taken over my life. I mean, let's be honest. There's nothing else happening at the moment in my life at all. And so, creating content and creating Patreon rewards is pretty much all I do now.
Yeah, you do a lot. And, even though, you say like stuff is not planned and, you just get in front of the camera and talk, it takes a lot of energy to do that.
Yeah. And thanks for pointing that out because I don't think people understand, yes, I sit in front of the camera and talk like I'm talking to you now, but then there's the edit to do, there'll be something I fluffed or something the cat's bottoms in the camera or something like that. And I need to edit that out. Or I think actually this would be more interesting if I had some photographs in here to illustrate that. And the edit can take a long time.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't do this now, but I did have in the early days, because I think we're up to about something like 18,000 YouTube subscribers now, which for me is unheard of.
18.9, I checked.
18.9. Okay. Well, okay, we're climbing up to 19.
Yeah.
And that's small for very, very many channels, but it isn't small for me.
No.
Because I started out with, when I got to 1,000 subscribers, it was like, let's throw a party. This is unbelievable. And now we're looking at it just organically growing. I love that it grows very slowly and organically. But back in the day when it was 50 people, I would reply to every comment and then they would reply and I would reply back and we would have a proper old party going on in the comments. Well, I carried on doing that for quite a long time. And then one day I sat down to answer comments, and 6 hours later I got up. I thought, hang on a minute, Kate, you can't do this.
Oh.
And I was being told by, Anna and Girl Rita and Martha and all my beautiful relatives, you can't do this, Mum. And I can't. And I feel really sad about that because, people take their care to comment, to firstly watch the video, which is amazing that people want to do that and connect in that way. And then they make a lovely, lovely comment. And all I can do with it is read it and scoot on. I can give it maybe a heart. And sometimes, it even takes me too long to do that. And I feel incredibly sad about that, which is why in the videos I say, go in the comments, read the comments, support one another, get on that lime green sofa, pass down the biscuits. It's why I'm trying to create community. Because as I said earlier, what I'm doing is nothing more special than what everyone else is doing. And what I'm mindful of is that there is this sort of and I'm doing this for you rather than I'm doing this for us. And I mind that, Stephanie. I really do. I mind that. And I don't know how people who've got much bigger YouTube channels than me, how they cope with that. Have you got any ideas about how to do that?
Well, just what I've seen from the bigger channels that I've followed, when they get to like that 100,000 on up, or even sooner than that, they have help. They have to get help then. Yeah. And then it just doesn't, that's where you just kind of have to decide, do I really want this to become a monster of an empire, or do I want to keep this kind of like small and intimate, which I prefer small and intimate. And when I started watching your channel, it was only a couple thousand subscribers and I loved it. And I'm like, I found this little gem and, but it's funny because, I watch it on my TV through Apple TV. So I don't get to do the comments as I'm watching it. I can do the thumbs up all the time, but then, so I have to cognizant, I've only gone on there maybe once or twice to do a comment. But, when you started talking about the lime green sofa, I went there and I started reading people's comments and conversations with each other. And it was amazing. It was just really. It is,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. It really is special. I think that, all credit to all of them, because I think what the people who do find me, however they find me, they've found somebody who thinks like them, who does like them. They knit socks or they garden or they've got a cat or they're my age and I'm worried what their hair's going to look like at the end of this lockdown. I'm really worried about that, Stephanie. It's a mess. And so I think I find that the comments they're so sincere.
Yes.
And so to start thinking about, I'm tiny compared with some of the other channels you're talking about, employing people to manage that. I watched that lovely girl, Katie, who has the soap channel, Royalty Soaps. Do you watch her?
Oh, no. I will.
Oh, she's a laugh. She really is. She
Royalty
absolutely.
Soaps?
Yeah, Royalty Soaps.
Okay.
And so she makes soap and you would think, well, how interesting is that? Really interesting, actually. I love her. She's just got such a bright, buzzy energy. She's in her 20s and she just bounces around like a bee in a jar. She's amazing. And so she has thousands of followers, thousands of comments, and she has people who manage her.
Right.
And I look at her, I think, she has to have, because she's running a business. It's, she posts her stuff, it sells out in 3 hours, all of that. So she's successful in that way. If that's how you're judging success, then in her world, she's very successful and good for her. I think she's amazing. And her brother, Kenny, who's also a bit of a twit. I like them both. She's the oldest of 10 kids, and good luck to her mum.
Whoa.
I know. Her mum's amazing.
I'm the oldest of 6, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah. I'm the youngest of 3.
Oh, you're the baby.
Yes, I am. Yeah. And so she has, and other YouTube channels I watch have people who manage them. And I'm thinking, I wonder what that would be like. And I have help. I couldn't do any of the stuff I do on Patreon without Rita, Girl Rita, cat Rita sometimes, but girl Rita mostly, and without John and Anna and Martha and Adam and Owen and Rita, I really couldn't. I couldn't do it without them.
I've wondered that because you show stuff like this is going out for the patrons and you're making all this stuff. And I'm like, how does she do all of this? I just, because you
I
do
write
a lot.
it. I write it because I like to write. And so I write these little observations and these whatever I write, and then Rita makes it look fantastic because she's got these online editing skills which I simply haven't got, and Adam has got I write the stories from the Last Homely House kitchen and I write them and I send it to him as a Word document, and what I get back is Martha's beautifully illustrated it and Adam's laid it out so that it looks stunning.
Yeah.
And I am pleased with how that's going. And so that's the sort of help I have. But no, I don't have any help because for me on the channel's not monetized. So the channel is for free. There's no income at all from the channel. We've had conversations, Rita and I, about whether or if we should monetize, and at the moment there doesn't seem to be a need to do so. And so it isn't generating me income. I don't know if people know that. I mean, they must know because they haven't got to skip ads at the beginning.
I do, yes. It's because the other channels that you watch, every 5 minutes it'll pop off to an ad and you're just like, oh, here we go again. So your videos are very nice to watch because you get the beginning to the end.
Exactly.
And
when I'm watching it, I hate that. And so I think, I respect my lot more than that. I want them to enjoy being here and I'm not going to put people through that. And so the monetizing hasn't happened and I can't see when or how it would. It may do.
Well,
it may be we get crazy numbers where it would be crazy not to.
Exactly.
But for now, it just feels like I hate ads so much. Why would I impose ads on all these people sitting on the lime green sofa?
Right.
They're
and you said it. It really is becomes advantageous when you get to a certain crazy number of subscribers. But the other thing I think too is that you're doing is very smart. And what they actually I belong to this Craft Industry Alliance, a professional organization for people in the craft industry. And they say a lot. You should not rely upon stuff like that, like affiliates and that.
No,
what you want to do is you bring people to your website, to your shop. And that's what you're doing. You're bringing people to your shop.
And if people want to go and shop in my shop, they can. It's their choice. And if people want to support me on Patreon, it's their choice. And on Patreon, I feel really okay about that because I'm giving something back in return.
Yes.
It's not like it's not just like here's $1. Well, the dollar tier is like thanks very much.
Yes.
But once we get to $5, there are gifts back. There's rewards back for every tier. And so it feels to me like a proper exchange and one that they're choosing to do rather than having imposed on them. So it feels to me like monetizing's a long way off, or if it's there at all.
Right. And
Oh, you've got one of my little pin cushions.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's pottery. Can I tell you how much I'm missing pottery?
I was going to ask you about it because I'm like, I hope she's still going to do pottery because I love it.
I will, but I can't go because
that's right. You can't go to your
can't go anywhere. It's, to shop for groceries or to the pharmacy. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah. So for the listeners, I held up. I ordered from Kate's shop, and she makes this beautiful pottery, and it's a little small bowl, I would say, and she hand painted dots on it, and it was glazed really pretty. And then on the top, she filled it with stuffing in Liberty fabric, and it's a pin cushion. It is so beautiful. I'll put a picture of this on the show notes just so listeners can see.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I did. I made a few of those, and I really enjoyed pottery very, very much. I came very late to pottery. It was something I started when I turned 60. I decided I would do 60 new things in my 60th year that I'd never done before.
I like that.
All the things that I thought, oh no, I'm far too old to do that. And so I enrolled for a pottery course, and I did quite a number of other things as well. I bought a drum kit and had lessons in how to learn to play the drums. And that was great. But the pottery stuck longer than the drums. I kept the drumming going for a year. I had lessons for a year.
Nice.
And I went to my first drumming lesson. I booked it in the little local town here, and the teacher is a school friend of my middle son, George, and he used to come and hang out here with John. And they used to just, when they were kids, and he saw me and he says, Kate, he says, what are you doing here? And I said, I want to learn to play the drums. And the look on his face, it was, I wish I'd had a camera. And he said, you want to learn to play the drums? I said, yeah, I do. I want to learn to play the drums. And so he said, okay, what do you want to learn? What do you want to do? I said, well, I have one ambition. I want to put on early Beatles songs and be better than Ringo.
I was just going to say Beatles.
We can definitely help you do that, Katie said. And so that's what I did. I used to put the headphones on and with, really, really very early Beatles stuff on. And then with the headphones and the music, I couldn't really hear how bad I was. And then I'd just bash away doing Ringo's part. It was great.
So much fun.
But then it was fun. But then my next door neighbour, they don't live there any longer, but there was a little family lived next door with 4 boys. And the 7-year-old Rory, he loved my drum kit. And he would come in after school and he would be pretending that he was just calling to see how I was. Hi, Kate, how are you doing? I'm fine, Rory. Do you have a good day at school? Yeah, really good day at school. Do you want to go and play the drums? Yes! Run upstairs to the spare bedroom and play the drums. So when they moved house, I gave the drum kit to him. I checked with his mum. And he's now having lessons with the same teacher, George, and is taking his grades and is doing really, really well. So I'm very pleased that it ended like that. And I had a good year.
I love that.
I did many things, and one of them was pottery. And the pottery was the one that I kept up with, and up and up and up. I loved it. And I will get back to my little pottery studio when all this is over.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it because when you put that stuff on sale in your shop, it goes so quickly. And you had these little set of 3 little bowls that nested. And I could not get those.
I know they went really quickly.
They did.
Really
they
quickly.
did.
Because the thing with that is, I absolutely love making things, but then sometimes I just make so much stuff. What do I want with 40 bowls? So it was just great just to be able to let people who wanted them buy them. Yeah. But that's not going to happen for a long time.
Right. But you'll get back to it, and
hope so. Hope so.
Yeah. And what I found really interesting is that where you live, you would think that, you're in like a rural countryside, but you have access to so many wonderful artisans. That amazes me.
A lot of creative people.
Yes.
Really a lot of creative people.
That are within like just this driving distance from you. And I'm amazed at that. So you take your camera with you, and I love it. You have gone to, you did a neon sign. So you took us to that workshop.
Well, that was a Christmas present from my kids. They all clubbed together and bought me this day neon workshop. What a blast that was. That was fantastic. That was quite a way. That was down in Yorkshire, which is quite a way. Okay. But that was
That was fun. I've never seen anything like that before.
Neither had I. It was unbelievable.
You visited your printers, which was wonderful.
Yes.
And the other thing too is that these places and these artisans and so forth are open to you bringing your camera in there too, which is pretty nice.
And so I checked first. So the guy who makes the candles, Ted, is an old friend of mine, and he's fine with me going into his workshop and filming. I think the candle making process is really, really interesting. And then because this is, I think, did we do this? Yes, we did this in November, Anna and I, because we put together the Christmas box, which was a box full of things that all my friends had made. And so there was some glass from Philippa, and Philippa makes the most fantastic fused glass, just small pieces. She has a little kiln. She makes them in the spare room in her house.
Wow.
And so so there's Philippa's lovely glass. And then just lately, I've been visiting Kerry, who makes soap.
Soap, yes, I saw that one.
Yeah, that was an interesting visit, wasn't it? Because she explained really carefully and well every single stage. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And so I've lived here for 34 years, and so I know a lot of people who do a lot of things. And so when we were putting the Christmas box together, it was, well, let's have, this from this person, this from this person. And we're planning the Christmas box for this year. I'm hoping that, we'll be able to manage to do that.
Right.
And I'm going to be commissioning some of my friends again to make these, some different bits and pieces to go in the Christmas box.
Yeah.
With a bit of luck, there might be something from my son, John, who's a woodworker.
Oh,
yeah!
I didn't know he was a woodworker. Oh, very nice. Yeah. And you went to this reclaimed workshop that made your sewing tables. Oh, that was fascinating. That was so much fun.
Now, there you go. They were so friendly, so helpful, and I got the best service from them. But I think that if you go into these places that, like Ted and Kerry and all these places with an expectation that they're going to be friendly, that they're going to be warm, like the printers, they're just ordinary little printers. People go in, they drop off their work to be done, they go away, they come back, they pick it up, and they really barely have any kind of interchange except for paying. Whereas I've decided that it's important to know all their names, to find out, I know now that Charles collects marbles. Now, who knew? And John's wife really liked the little glass angels. Oh, yeah. And I've got to know them. And now, if I need something, so they print all of these for me. They print all the Patreon rewards for me. And they print, my new compliments cards, which I'm so thrilled with. My daughter drew them. They're beautiful. So if you buy anything, you get one of these fantastic cards that Martha drew. Nice. And they print all of these. But I go in there and we just sit and chew the fat for a bit. And so when I say, can I come and film them binding the calendar? Because I make a calendar every year. Of course you can, Kate. And I go, and I think the more willing you are to meet people on their own turf, on their home ground. And I guess I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I'm happy to just make that extra effort. Right. So maybe that it comes back to, having worked all my working life as a midwife, you've got to step into someone else's space very quickly and become very comfortable and familiar with who they are and what they want. And I used to enjoy that part of it. I used to enjoy getting to know people like that. And now here in splendid isolation, I don't know people in that way. Right. But I think I still try to build that connection, maybe. I'm just thinking of this right now, that connection that makes people feel like that I am really interested in them. That's what all the hashtags are all about and all the comments and everything.
Well,
I am interested.
Yeah, I think that you have accomplished that because of all the comments that you get. Yeah. And all of the interaction.
I really like it. I really like it. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you if there are any new things coming up this year, but you said that you're working on a new box and a new calendar.
There'll be a Christmas box at Christmas time, and there will be another calendar. This will be the third year of the calendar. This year's Patreon rewards are all set. There'll be new ones in 2020. Girl Rita's thinking about that even now, bless her. She's amazing. And the distance is nothing because we talk like this. She's in Canada. I'm here. I just have to remember that she's not awake until dinner time.
Yes.
Yeah? Because the time here now is 5:30. What time is it for you?
It's 11:30.
Exactly.
in the morning.
So I've got to check
6
out
hours, a good 6 hours. Yeah.
that she's awake and had breakfast before I start talking to her.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it still works. It still works. That communication still.
That's really wonderful. It's pretty special that you have so many family members that love to contribute and work with you on this.
3 kids, just 3 kids, and their 3 partners, who I think of as my other 3 kids.
Yeah, but that's 6 people that are helping you, and they each bring a different set of skills that they can contribute. That's wonderful.
I wrote the editorial for one of the zines the other day, and I was just thanking them all. I said, none of this would happen without, and I named them all. And I said, so I'm really grateful to them all. And I said, and Agnes, she'll be given a job when she's older, but right now she's our head of cute.
She is. Oh,
she's head of cute.
You've had her on maybe I've seen her on at least one video, and she's so cute.
Yeah. Martha and Adam, they're quite private people, so I don't put her out on the internet very much. Yeah. But yesterday was her half birthday.
Oh,
she was 6 months old, and so there may be a picture of Agnes on the video tonight.
Oh, I love it. So nice. Well, Kate, I just have had so much fun chatting with you.
Yes, me too. And, so have I.
It's just so much fun, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity that I could have you on my show.
Good.
So keep making your beautiful videos, and like I said, before, you are my favorite channel, hands down, and you're not paying me to say this.
Well, you're sweet. You're very, very sweet. You really are. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. It makes me feel very proud. It really does. Well, whatever it is I've created here, it's and I get told this on a daily basis. It's somehow it's filling a need for someone, and that makes me feel like I've found my purpose.
Oh, I love that. It's wonderful. Well, then I will wish you happy isolation, I guess. I don't know.
Well, take your spot on the lime green sofa.
I will.
I'll be passing down the custard cream soon, and you can have one or not. Just pass it along.
Okay.
And the cats are very happy to have so many knees to sit on down there.
Oh yeah, I love your cats. And you one more thing. You did you were knitting these dishcloths, and I don't knit, but 3 weeks ago I actually did get sick, and I just had to stay in bed. And I'm watching you, and then I watched a bunch of other videos. I ordered knitting needles, ordered the yarn, and I made my first dishcloth, and now I'm on my second one, all inspired by you.
And that's because you spend time in your hands, and even though you might have been feeling a bit sick and a bit low, I'm glad to see you looking better now.
Yes.
But it can lift your mood. It really can lift your mood. The simple act of putting 2 pieces of fabric together, or 2 bits of 2 knitting needles and or a crochet, whatever, it can definitely lift your mood. And you end up with a dishcloth at the end of it.
Absolutely.
So everybody wins.
Yeah. And, like you would probably be the same, like creative people. I just need to have something creative to do. I can't just sit there and watch TV all day long.
No, I really can't. And so that's why there's always knitting or hexagons by the TV.
Right.
There's knitting here, so that sometimes I by the computer, because sometimes I watch in YouTube videos or editing or whatever I'm doing. So there's a bit of knitting here, but there's within reach. There's always something. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And more often than not, there's a cat asleep on top of it, which is a little bit disappointing.
Love your cat.
You've been absolutely lovely. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed
Thank you. And hopefully I can talk to you again maybe next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And see what we're up to then.
Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Bye.
Bye.
And we can't have any show without Norma.
No, not at all. I know them all. Norma, Rita. The one.
Go on.
The white one with the patches. What's her name? Starts with a P, right? Prudence.
Prudence.
I did it.
Well done. One more.
Rita? Did I say Rita? Norma? Prudence?
Norma, Rita and Prudence, and there's one more.
Well,
She's another Beatles song.
Rocky is the outdoor one, right? So that's not him.
Yep.
What is the number?
Sadie.
Sadie, that's right. Oh.
You never see Sadie. You never see
That's
Sadie.
why.
That's why.
I'm trying to
never see her.
Yes.
Oh, well done for knowing some of them anyway. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you. Thanks for listening to the Make and Decorate podcast. The podcast is produced, recorded, and edited by Stephanie Socha. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.